It's News 360 live from Adesawe Kanda here in Accra. Good evening to you and welcome. I am Aisha Yakubuhali.
And my name is Kwesi Asari. And coming up in the next 60 minutes.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
Ghana administers cholera vaccines for the first time to prevent further outbreaks.
Electoral Commission clarifies that the shortages of ballot papers for the December 7 general elections are not limited to the Volta and Bono regions.
In business tonight, Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana maintains key lending rate at 27%, citing persistent inflationary pressures. We've got details of these stories and many more coming up in the next 60 minutes. Remember, we're streaming live on Facebook. We're also live on your DSTV channel 279. You can join us with your views, comments and suggestions on any of our top stories this hour. Feel free to visit any of our social media pages on Facebook and on X.
Where your election command sent. And our chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, has assured that the Commission has made provisions for every voter on the register. Addressing the media a short while ago, the chairperson of the Commission insisted that they have worked with political party agents to address any shortfall identified. Before we bring you that, we understand that the chairperson of the EC is addressing the media again. So let's take a listen to her.
Request to our directors and to our officers to ensure that at least we had 3 TV stations and 5 radio stations at every constituency collation center. At the regional level, I believe that the directive was to have 5 TV stations and 7 radio stations at each regional collation center. It was not, as I said, to restrict. It was simply to ensure that at the minimum there would be media covering, there would be TV covering, and there would be radio covering, to avoid the situation where we would say that, well, we didn't have enough space, and so we only allowed 1 media personnel to come in or 2 media personnel to come in, and in the end, it will ensure that we do not have adequate coverage. And so it was for that purpose, and that purpose alone, and it was not to restrict in any way. As a commission, we believe that the surest way to dealing with misinformation and disinformation around elections is transparency, transparency, transparency. And over the years, we've collaborated closely with you, our media partners, to demystify our operations and remove the cloaks of secrecy that hitherto characterized our work. We are not going to go back to the old days of secrecy. Take that from me. It has always been, and it will always remain, transparency, transparency, transparency all the way. And I believe we've demonstrated that throughout our processes. And over the last few years, we've worked with you along every step of the way and allowed all our media partners access to cover every important aspect of our electoral process. It is not at this point, when we have reached the most crucial, that is election day, that we would close the door on you. And so I'd like to reiterate that that memo was to ensure that at the minimum we would have 3 stations, TV stations, and 5 radio stations in the constituency collation centers. And at the regional level, we would have 5 TV stations and 7 radio stations at the minimum. So I think it's important that we make this and we set the record straight. As I mentioned, we are not going back to the old days of secrecy. It has been and it will always remain transparency, transparency, transparency. We need you, our media partners, to throw the spotlight on all aspects of our work. Without your lenses and without your pens, in between there would have misinformation and disinformation, and it will not augur well for us. So we require you, more than anything else, to ensure that your cameras, your lenses, your pens are working on election day, and that the truth, the evidence, the facts are laid bare for every Ghanaian to see. It is for that reason that in 2020, for the first time in our history, we waived the accreditation fee for all media houses to enable them to have access to all our polling stations nationwide. This year, as in 2020, we have engaged extensively with the leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association and the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association to ensure that any media house and any media personnel wishing to observe and cover events at the polling stations are provided the opportunity to do so. Over the last few weeks, we have worked with both institutions to ensure that media houses interested in covering activities, as I mentioned, are accredited. And we've been provided with the photographs of quite a number of you. I believe to date we have been provided with 6,848 photographs for which we have granted accreditation at no cost. And I repeat, at no cost to the media. And the whole purpose is to grant the media the freedom, the space, and the opportunity to travel to every nook and cranny of this country to cover proceedings at the polling station. Let us state that should the GJA and GIBA present even 20,000 names for accreditation to the polling stations, the Commission will provide the accreditation at no cost to the media, for it is in our interest, our own interest, to open up our processes to the media and by so doing to the citizenry. And we do not intend to restrict it now. We believe that through you, the citizens would have first-hand information as to what is going on across the country on election day and in the days aftermath. And so that where there are attempts to misinform and disinform, the citizens would have prior knowledge and they would not, react to misinformation and disinformation. So if there's anybody who needs you more than anybody else, it is the Electoral Commission of Ghana, and we need you at this time. As you all know, elections are won or lost at the polling station. It is at the polling station that voters vote. It is at the polling station that ballots are counted. It is at the polling station that the results are declared and signed by the agents of the political parties. And it is at the polling station that parliamentary results are declared and presidential results are announced. That is the most critical aspect, it's the foundation of our work. It starts from the polling station. It is not to say that the work that takes place, the activities that takes place at the constituency and regional and national collation centers are not relevant. They are equally relevant, and we need your lenses and we need your pens there too. You, however, agree with me that accrediting 6,848 media personnel to 276 constituency collation centers and 16 regional collation centers would not be workable. It would be a chaotic approach. And from what I said, you notice that in spite of the free accreditation, what the numbers we have got for the polling station level for persons who the GJ and GIBA have presented to us amount to 6,848 for 40,000 polling stations. If we were to accredit 6,848 to 276 constituency collation centers and 16 regional collation centers, it would be difficult. It would be difficult. as much as we would love to, and we need you more than you need us at this stage, it is simply not workable, you know, for us to accredit all 6,848 to all to the 276 collation centers. I'm sure that you all agree with me that it will be chaotic. This is because our collation centers at the constituency and the regions are simply not spacious. As we speak, we are fighting to and moving around to get a better collation center than this place. Can you imagine if we had 1,000 of the media in this place, in this room? This room cannot even take 150. And this is national. So we are working around to get a spacious place to allow as much media as possible to the national. But the collation center, unfortunately, we are faced with logistical challenges in terms of space within the collation centers. At the regional level as well, it is the conference rooms of our regional offices that are used as collation centers, and they are nowhere near this room. However, being a listening commission, after our discussions with the leadership of the GJA and the GIBA, we have agreed to provide 4,500 accreditation cards to the media to be able to access all 276 constituency and 16 regional collation centers. Again, this comes at no cost to the media, and it's important to emphasize that the accreditation for the constituency would be different from what you get at the polling station. At the constituency level, you get a different accreditation. At the regional level, you also get a different accreditation. And this would be provided 4,500 accreditation to enable media houses access the 276 constituency collation centers and the 16 regional collation centers. Additionally, the Commission has decided, in consultation with the GJ and GIBA, to leave the distribution of the accreditation cards solely to the GJA and GIBA. So what we are doing, and I did mention, I may not have mentioned it, but we are hoping that by Sunday we would have the 4,500 cards available to, and we will present this to GIBA and the GJA to pick up. Some have argued that in the spirit of transparency, every single media house should be allowed to every constituency collation center without accreditation. It is important to highlight that for security purposes, we need to accredit everybody who goes to any of our centers. Even as commission staff, as commissioners and as directors and as staff, we will also be accredited. So it is simply impossible to say that anybody should walk in. What you are going to have is that people would impersonate the media personnel and go in and say, we are media. So it is important to accredit them. You know, however, we are also mindful of the sizes of our collation centers, and so we believe that it will be on a first come, first served basis. Once the room is full, accreditation has been given, and therefore it is on a first come, first served basis. If this room can take 150 and there are 300 people outside, surely the room cannot take them. So I believe that as media leave, others would be allowed in, and so on and so forth. But it will surely be on a first come, first served basis, because unlike the polling stations, where it's widely spread and it's in open spaces, these are in enclosed spaces, and it has not been possible to get huge conference facilities in the constituencies. I must reiterate that the cards for the constituency, regional and national collation centers would be provided to the leadership of the GJA and GIBA, and they would in turn distribute this to the media houses. As you saw from our memo, the initial plan was to have our officers do the distribution. But we know that your parent bodies, they have the list. They are able to determine, to ensure that wide coverage, that adequate coverage, and therefore we have, in consultation with them, agreed that all the cards will be made available to them. I would like to end by thanking you, our media partners. But maybe before I do that, it's important to highlight that under the arrangement, that under the previous arrangement, if you go by the letter that we had provided to our staff and you do the calculation, it meant that we were going to provide 3,308 accreditation cards to the media to access the constituency, regional and national, the constituency and regional collation centers. And so if you look at the memo and you do the calculations, that is the number that you had. I think one of the challenges that the GJ expressed and GIBA expressed was that, they want to be able to do the distribution themselves. That for all they felt that even if that was the case, they wanted to do the distribution themselves. We have, being a listening commission, being a responsive commission, and following our discussions with them, we have increased that number from the 3,308 to the 4,500 accreditation cards that we are presenting to them. And I believe that they would ensure that all the media houses, on their radar, have access to these cards to ensure a very, very good coverage. They have the responsibility. Now that we've provided them with the cards, we have done our bit, and we assure you that 4,500 cards will be available on Sunday evening for pick up by the leadership of the GGA and GIBA. We've done our bit, and we hope that they would also take the bait and ensure that there's a media house in every space and every nook and cranny of this nation, covering our elections and bringing and shedding light on all our activities to ensure that the truth, the facts are brought to the doorstep of every Ghanaian. I'd like to thank you, our media partners. You have walked this journey with us. Through your lenses and your pens, we have been able to bring our activities to the doorstep of every citizen who cares to know. We need you at every corner and every space to capture the facts, to capture the evidence, to capture the truth. We encourage you to be objective in your reportage. Let us put our dear nation Ghana first, and remember that she's the only country we have. Indeed, when all is done on the 7th of December and in the days following, Ghana must and will stand as the beacon of democracy in Africa. May God bless the media of Ghana. May God bless his beloved nation, Ghana. May God bless the Electoral Commission of Ghana.
Amen.
May God bless the elections of 2024.
Amen.
And make our dear nation, his beloved nation, great and strong.
Amen.
Thank you.
And so you heard the Electoral Commissioner, Jean Mensah, addressing the press. That was a live address by the Electoral Commissioner, essentially addressing matters of the press regarding access to this year's election. She says the Electoral Commission has no intentions of limiting access to coverage by the media, and that they are determined to work with the media to ensure transparency in the upcoming elections. Let's move on to other stories now. And Majority Leader in Parliament and Member of Parliament for Efutu, Alexander Apenyo-Markin, has admonished the youth against perpetrating violence in the upcoming elections. Now, while addressing educational workers at a Teachers' Award ceremony, the legislator called on party supporters to engage on an issue-based campaign.
A reminder to those of you who are foot soldiers, who are busy with the politics in our communities. We, the political class in Parliament, are friends to each other and one another. We do not fight. We engage each other. So if you are here and you are going to pull a knife because somebody disagrees with you, I am sorry. When things go bad, you may not find that politician who is a beneficiary of your conduct following you. The political party may even disown you. So let's be careful.
And now, presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has promised the people of Buem in the Oti region of facilitating the setting up of a ginger factory. He was addressing the stakeholders comprising chiefs, clergy and Muslim clerics at Buem in the Oti region.
Me pese me beboa ekuafo the farmers. Me pese agriculture is my #1 priority as a president of this country. Me beboa ekuafo said ye pese ye ekuajuma no uhwe area bia wo cropper area specialist in. Ye beboa ekuafo with fertilizer, with agricultural inputs. Also, ye pese crop bia ye no yenya processing factory for that crop. Minim se Buem ha modo ginger pa enyasa. Ginger is a major product. Ye be peja ginger farming in the district. Na the factory about to process the ginger for export and so on. No. Adia ye pese me pese me de bapa eboa ekuafo. Usha said ye di efidie akoma every district say yensiesie akwan no. Me di efidie ekoma every district ama ekuafo in that district. Ye the district agric mechanization center. Usha district bia no one usha efidie Omo ekuafo no mi hia a tractor so a combine harvester so a planter so na odi akosi ho ama ekuafo no need me use for their farming activity.
The NDC vice presidential candidate, Professor Nana Jane Obukwajiman, has asked the people of Kpare in the Karachi East constituency of the Oti region to vote for the NDC and that it's the best thing at bringing development to the people. Here's a report by Evelyn Tingma.
Supporters showed up in their numbers at a community engagement in Kpare. Community leaders say the MPP government has failed them and hope an NDC government would address their needs, including construction of roads, clinics and the provision of potable drinking water. Former NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofoswampofo charged the people to reject Dr. Bawumia and the MPP for failing to fulfill promises made to them.
When I came to Oti, I asked myself, what has changed in your life? Akufo-Addo Bawumia government did only babos for you. On December 7th, I urge you to vote against the NPP.
He says the NDC will bring power back to the people as well as developments. The NDC vice presidential candidate, Professor Nana Jane Obukwajiman, says the MPP after 8 years in office has nothing to show and should not be voted for again on December 7th.
My minister for the water and the
What surprises me is that she was a minister and couldn't do anything for the constituency. What work did she do?
Also, the Electoral Commission says the 2024 general elections will go down in history as the best since the inception of the Fourth Republic. Deputy Commissioner at the EC, Dr. Bosman Asari, at the 4th edition of the Graphic National Development Series in Accra, reassured Ghanaians of the Commission's commitment to ensuring fair, transparent and peaceful elections.
The 4th edition of the Graphic National Development Series is in partnership with the Graphic Communications Group Limited and the Electoral Commission of Ghana. It brought together stakeholders to explore the nation's readiness for the December 7 general elections.
Graphic does not presume to know what is best for everyone, just as we will not presume to pick the outcome of a peaceful election. But I do have an unyielding belief that all our people yearn for certain things: the ability to speak their minds and have a say in how we are governed, confidence in the rule of law and the equal administration of justice, government that is representative, transparent and accountable to we the people, the freedom to live as we choose. These are not just neoliberal ideas, they are human rights.
Deputy Chair of the Electoral Commission, Dr. Bosman Asare, outlined measures to improve transparency in the elections.
In 2020, when we had the elections, we did a lot of work, and we believed it turned out well. But in 2024, we've been able to double down on all the good things we did in 2020. So as an institution, we are very much convinced that come December 7th, all Ghanaians who want to exercise their franchise will be able to do that.
He revealed that the Commission has recruited coalition officers to help bring efficiency to the process.
A reminder to watching News 360, our major news bulletin for the day. We'll go for a quick break and return with some more stories.
Club, uplifting women. Phoenix Club, uplifting women. Phoenix Club, uplifting women. Thank you very much for having me here today. The nation builder John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane are bringing you the Women's Development Bank. Whoa! It is a very special bank run by only women, to serve only women. The aim is to empower millions of women across the country. The bank will have branches all over the nation to provide you with loans with very low interest and on very flexible terms.
Madam, I run a small makeup and nail bar. Do I qualify for a loan?
No need to bother, my sister. I mean hairdressers, market women, women-owned online businesses, female graduates, women in the corporate world, traders, agri, women in all fields qualify for loans. With John Mahama and Professor Nana Jane at the helm, the Ghanaian woman will surely rise.
Vote for change. Vote for John Mahama and the NDC.
You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint
Right, welcome to the business news segment here on News 360. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has kept the policy rate unchanged at 27%, citing concerns over elevated inflation driven by high food prices, utility tariff adjustments and past exchange rate pressures. The inflation target horizon has been shifted slightly forward to the fourth quarter of 2025.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana has maintained the policy rate at 27% as inflation pressures persist. In its latest statement, the MPC highlighted steep increases in food prices, earlier currency depreciation, and rising utility tariffs as key drivers of inflation. Despite the slight strengthening of the cedi in recent months, average inflation for the next year is now forecast at 20.1%, up from 19% in the previous forecast. The committee also adjusted its inflation target timeline, projecting that inflation will fall within the target range of 6 to 10% by the fourth quarter of 2025 instead of the earlier estimate of the third quarter. The MPC believes maintaining the current policy rate will help stabilize inflation expectations while supporting economic recovery.
Meanwhile, the first Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, is advocating for a well-structured built environment to improve taxation, particularly through property taxes. In his address at the Ghana Institute of Architects 2024 Annual General Meeting in Accra, he highlighted that many African countries, including Ghana, are burdened with significant debts due to low tax revenues, especially from property tax.
The Deputy Governor emphasized that a shortfall in Ghana's property tax is often as a result of poorly planned urban environments which hinder effective property tax collection.
Whilst most advanced and emerging market economies have tax to GDP ratios above 30%, developing countries, especially low-income countries, are under 15%, with Ghana hovering around 13%, and property taxes are mostly absent in our economies. This has been one of the major reasons why governments have had to borrow to close the financing gap.
President of Ghana Institute of Architects has urged that all districts, municipal and metropolitan assemblies are assigned architects to aid in planning and promote quality built environments.
You go to the MMDs, that's the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies, and there are virtually no architects in any of them. In Greater Accra with 29 MMDs, we only have 6 of them having architects. Ashanti region, no architects. Eastern region, no architects. It's so terrible.
The Ghana Institute of Architects 2024 annual greeting meeting was themed Economic Significance of a Quality Built Environment.
And that's it for the very latest in the world of business. For more news, you can log on to our website. It's www.3news.com.
We solve the unemployment crisis in Ghana. Yes, Massa.
By using formula 133.
Can you expatiate?
Say, this simply means 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people. That is the Mahama 24-hour economy policy. Under this policy, businesses will be given tax incentives, cheaper electricity, financial support, and security support services to encourage them to work 24/7 by adopting 3 work shifts of 8 hours each. This will triple job opportunities in the country.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen. Now, since getting relegated from the Ghana Premier League at the end of the 2008, All Blacks have been looking for a way to return to the top flight competition. That opportunity has possibly presented itself as the Swedru-based side are currently top of Zone 2 in the Division 1 league table after 8 matches. My colleague Francis Hema engaged the key actors in the team's promotion aspirations.
After decades of fluctuating between the top flight and lower divisions, Swedru All Blacks are on the brink of an exciting comeback. Unbeaten and sitting at the top of the Division 1 league table after 8 games, the team is now eyeing a long-awaited return to Ghana's Premier League. Leading this revitalized side is assistant coach Joe Ajiman, a former player with a wealth of experience from his time at Ken Faisal and Hazakis. Ajiman's deep knowledge of the game and passion for football have been instrumental in guiding the team through a strong start to the season.
It's been a tough journey, but everything, when you go with high hopes and then your beliefs, you can go far.
Ajiman's leadership has been bolstered by the unwavering support of the management and the fans.
After the match, the day or the next day, you see your bonus, salary, latest 27, 28. It's like you are working in a company.
The team's impressive form has caught the attention of fans and pundits alike, generating a buzz around Swedru's potential to make their Premier League return. The excitement is palpable among supporters who are hopeful for the club's rise.
Now this season, you will never fail them.
Especially left right. So blast match energy.
As Swedru All Blacks continue their quest for promotion, one thing is clear. The future is looking brighter than ever for this historic club, and they are determined to make their mark once more.
Swedru All Blacks looking to return to the Ghana Premier League. Bringing an end to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen, and entertainment comes right after this break.
Entertainment news segment is brought to you by
Napa Foods, Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Coil.
Powered by 3 Entertainment.
Well, good evening. Let's do some entertainment news updates here on News360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, all roads lead to the Ifua Sutherland Children's Park this Saturday for the finale of Kitchen Wars. Now, which school takes home the prize at stake and bragging rights as the school with the best cooks?
It's been weeks of culinary hostilities between the various alumni groups in Ghana on TV3's Kitchen Wars. Season 3 of the cooking experience has been an exciting one as alumni groups strive for bragging rights. Come Saturday, November 30, all roads lead to the Children's Park for the Kitchen Wars grand finale. In an exciting twist, 4 schools, Tamale Senior High School, Yasantua Girls, Laboni Senior High School, and Infanspum Old Boys will now compete for culinary supremacy. As the date draws near, schools have been expressing confidence and talking tough about their chances.
We learned from our mistakes from last year. Last year we participated and we didn't get to the final. So we went back to the drawing board early enough and basically showed our dedication and hard work too. And I think from the onset from last year, we vowed that this year we'll get to the final. And just like the National Science and Maths quiz, we're also in the final.
Who will take home the bragging rights as the school with the best cooks? Join us to cheer for your favorite school, enjoy thrilling games, chant drama, and relive unforgettable memories from back in the day.
Expect an unforgettable day of
Now to some more stories. Organizers of the Central Music Awards have called on investors to support artists and creatives in the Central region. CEO of Heritage Promotions, organizers of the award scheme, Francis Pugh, says that there are a lot of talents in the region who need support to help elevate their career. And that brings an end to the entertainment news segment here on News360. My name is Noella Donko.
Let's now do some international news.
Chad has said it is terminating a key defense cooperation agreement with France, raising questions about Paris waning influence in Africa's embattled Sahel region. Chadian Foreign Minister Abderrahman Koulamala said it was time for his country to assert its full sovereignty. The announcement came just hours after Koulamala's French counterpart, Jean-Noël Barrot, met Chad's President Mahamat Deby. Chad is a key partner in the West fight against Islamist militants in the West African Sahel region.
Well, that's all for News360. Thanks very much for making a date with us. For more news, you can log on to our website. It's www.3news.com. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare.
And I'm Aisha Yakubu Khalid. Good evening.
My brothers and sisters, at a time when we are suffering due to the bad policies of the Baumia-led economic management team, leading figures of the NPP like Chairman Wontumi are destroying our water bodies in search of gold to satisfy their greed. To add insult